But Yang Chen didn't give up. He needed to understand a legendary technique. If he could master it in 3 days, it wouldn't be called legendary. Yang Chen didn't get discouraged, and continued to study it. Time flowed quietly inside the deity cave. Time passed, and Yang Chen's mindset was very different than it was 10 days ago. But there was a hint of excitement, because in 10 days, he had learned almost half of the Great Earth Imprisonment. No one else knew this, but the old Rong Lao was amazed. Normally, a cultivator with extraordinary comprehension could only touch the surface of the Great Earth Imprisonment in days. Yet, Yang Chen had already learned half of it. Meanwhile, the two instructors of the water sect had noticed that Yang Chen and Jianwuk had been in the deity cave for almost half a month. They were starting to get impatient, because there was a long line of people. One of them was a noble with a powerful family background that they could not afford to offend. Regardless of who it was, entering the deity cave required a lot of credits. Some students needed to accumulate an entire year just to be able to cultivate inside for 3 days. Yang Chen and Jianwuk were from the fire sect, so with an agreement between the two sects, they did not use up many points. One of the people who had been waiting outside the deity cave for almost half a day was growing impatient. He impatiently asked, "Instructor, when will they come out?" The instructor sighed helplessly. "I don't know, they didn't say how long they would be inside. Normally, they should have come out after 3 days." Whether they had understood anything or not, they should have already left. The deity statue is our water sect's treasure. It's not right for the fire sect to monopolize it like that. "Instructor, why don't you go in and hurry them?" The instructor was stumped. The water sect had a rule: no instructor or anyone else was allowed to disturb a student while they were cultivating. Xing Ling glared at the instructor. "I'll take care of everything. You just lead me there." The instructor hesitated. "They're from the fire sect." "So what? Our sect has been bearing the brunt of the fire sect's tyranny. We can't even defend our own treasures, and now they're bullying us." The instructor had no choice. He led Xing Ling to the deity cave. If it were anyone else, he would have refused. But Xing Ling was the granddaughter of the water sect's leader. She had a special talent, and the sect leader was personally guiding her. After opening the second gate, Xing Ling was shocked. The door was blocked by a large figure. Jianwuk, sensing someone was coming, stood up. Standing in the doorway, he looked at the instructor and Xing Ling. He sternly said, "My brother is in the critical moment of comprehension. You cannot disturb him." Xing Ling sneered, "Who are you trying to fool? There is no way that a soul fusion can take half a month. You must be Jianwuk, right? Don't think that just because you have some backing you can be arrogant." Jianwuk's face darkened, his demonic energy surged within him. He didn't let her finish. Xing Ling laughed mockingly. "Boy, do you really think you can stop me?" Jianwuk glared at Xing Ling. "I will not let you disturb my brother. You're really brave." Xing Ling glared at him coldly. Jianwuk's expression turned stern. "You, a mere 9th level of the heavenly harmony realm, actually dares to act arrogant in front of me. You're courting death." The instructor, panicking, quickly tried to mediate. "Miss Xing Ling, please calm down. You can't fight here." Xing Ling had always been arrogant and domineering. How could anyone dare talk back to her? "Today, I'm going to teach this fool a lesson." At the same time, Xing Ling circulated the spiritual energy in her body. A bone-chilling aura locked onto Jianwuk. In Xing Ling's eyes, as a talented cultivator in the initial stage of the nascent soul realm, she was confident that her aura would be enough to force him to his knees. While Yang Chen was comprehending the Great Earth Imprisonment technique, he could clearly see everything that was happening at the entrance, but he couldn't do anything. If he were to let the Great Earth Imprisonment technique, which he hadn't yet mastered, out of his spiritual sea, it would be disastrous. "Rong Lao, if those two brats come in," Yang Chen said coldly, "don't hold back, kill them." Rong Lao was angry. In the world of martial arts, disrupting someone's cultivation was an act punishable by death. Of course he would not allow anyone to disturb Yang Chen. "I will personally protect him." Jianwuk roared as he unleashed his heavenly demon armor to resist the powerful aura. He felt immense pressure. Xing Ling wasn't just any cultivator, she was a cultivator at the initial level of the nascent soul realm. Her strength was nothing to scoff at. With the help of the nascent soul realm, Xing Ling was humiliated. She was a genius in the initial level of the nascent soul realm, yet her aura wasn't enough to make a small fry in the 9th level of the heavenly harmony realm submit. Enraged, Xing Ling unleashed her spiritual energy. She formed a sharp blade made of condensed water energy, targeting Jianwuk. With a whoosh, the water blade shot forward. The instructor was too shocked to react. He was terrified. If Xing Ling killed Jianwuk, it would be a huge problem. With the fire sect's madness, they would surely retaliate against the water sect. Xing Ling was truly powerful. A dual earth and water celestial Taoist, the power of the sword she had just unleashed was enough to kill Jianwok, a low-level nascent soul realm cultivator. They couldn't hold back. Jianwok sensed the danger and released a powerful energy from his body. He positioned the Dragon Ball in front of him, confident that the sword attack wouldn't hurt him. The Dragon Ball, an ancient artifact, released a burst of energy that collided with the sword strike. Although the Dragon Ball blocked it, the energy of the sword strike still managed to pierce through it. The energy tore through Jianwok's shoulder, leaving him with a gaping wound. Furious, Yang Chen shouted, "You're asking for it. What happened to Chengling?" Seeing the incoming small tower, Chengling didn't care and simply pointed a finger. A ray of light shot out, but the small tower easily shattered it. How is this possible? He realized something was wrong. He knew the power of his attack. But the tower was still coming. The small tower didn't even slow down. A thought flashed in Chengling's mind, spiritual artifact. He retreated quickly. It was too late. With a crisp sound, the tower struck Chengling's forehead. His head was completely shattered. The tower, stained with blood, pierced through his head. The tower disappeared. Seeing Chengling fall to the ground, the lead instructor turned pale. They rushed forward to help but soon realized, he was dead, completely dead. "How dare you?" The lead instructor pointed at Jianwok. His face was dark and terrifying. Something big had happened. He quickly ordered the others to block the exits. "They've cornered Jianwok and Yang Chen." They sent out a message and soon, Elder Qing, the sect leader of the water sect, was alerted. He was in seclusion at Water Dragon Peak, and he was furious that his grandson was killed at the sect. The elder was in disbelief. "Who is it? Who dares to cause trouble at my sect?" He unleashed his terrifying aura. The entire water sect trembled. Even the fire sect could feel it. He felt a mysterious and ancient aura, and with a secret technique, he headed to the location of Qing Ling's death. He saw his grandson's body. Elder Qing entered the training hall. He saw the horrific state of his grandson. He felt helpless. His grandson's brains were destroyed. He had no way to bring back Qing Ling. He stood up and coldly stared at the trembling instructors and asked, "What happened? Tell me everything." The instructors didn't dare to hide anything and retold the whole story. After a long silence, Elder Qing turned around to look at Jianwok, who was blocking the door. "Did you kill him?" Elder Qing was in disbelief. "A weakling at the heaven stage. How could he kill my grandson?" Jianwok remained silent, completely unsure what to say. He knew the real culprit was Yang Chen, but he couldn't reveal it. "I need to buy some time for my brother." Elder Qing's gaze went past Jianwok. He noticed Yang Chen cultivating, with only a second level of heaven stage cultivation. It couldn't be him. Who was it? What kind of attack could kill my grandson instantly? After checking the training hall, Elder Qing couldn't find anything. He turned to the instructors and asked, "Did anyone see anything?" It was a ray of light, an instructor confirmed. The ray came out from inside the training hall, and then it disappeared. Elder Qing was furious. Elder Qing searched the training hall again but couldn't find anything. He was forced to focus on Yang Chen and Jianwok. If they had a conflict with his grandson, the terrifying ray of light must be related to them. Could it be a killer move from the fire sect? Elder Qing stared at Jianwok and asked, "Do you know how my grandson died? Can I tell him?" "No, I can't." Jianwok remained silent. If it was a normal person, Elder Qing would not be so polite. But this was a disciple from the fire sect. Helpless, Elder Qing turned to Yang Chen. But just as Elder Qing was about to make a move, Shen Langran appeared. He was pleased to see Elder Qing. "Sect leader, my junior brother is cultivating. You don't need to bother him. Everyone, let's protect him." Elder Qing rolled his eyes. After noticing the corpse on the floor, Shen Langran realized what had happened. "I understand now. Some idiots tried to disturb my junior brother's cultivation, and Jianwok killed them. These people never learn." Shen Langran glared at Elder Qing. "Elder Qing, I think you should take back your spiritual treasures, especially the 3 treasures that my junior brother is using. Your water sect instructors have no ability. It's only a matter of time before they screw up again. We can't just let them do what they want." Elder Qing was in trouble. He had yet to find out what happened to his grandson. Compared to Shen Langran, he was nothing. If he lost the 3 treasures, his sect would be done for. The 3 treasures were not from their sect. Elder Qing said, "Shen Langran, we haven't figured out what happened yet. Besides, my grandson is dead. Back when you borrowed the treasures, you promised we could use them however we please. Now you want to go back on your word." Jianwok was relieved. Since his senior brother was intervening, things would be fine. He was also surprised that the 3 treasures were from the fire sect. Elder Qing was embarrassed. My grandson cannot die without a reason. He had to say, Shenlangran, the 3 treasures were a deal between me and your master. And my junior brother Yang Chen is still cultivating. We can't disturb him now. The problem is, Shenlangran laughed and said, isn't it obvious? Qingling tried to force his way into the training hall and injured Jianwuk. That's why he was killed. Although he wasn't sure how powerful Yang Chen was, he had witnessed Yang Chen's terrifying murderous aura. He knew his junior brother must have a powerful trump card. But he wouldn't reveal it. Even if Elder Qing suspects something, what can he do? He can't disturb my junior brother's cultivation. If he disturbs him, he should be killed on the spot. We should go first, and wait for my junior brother to finish his training, said Shenlangran. You've experienced my master's temper. Shenlangran had no other choice. He knew he was not as strong as Elder Qing. Reluctantly, Elder Qing withdrew his aura. He left, followed by the instructors. Are you okay? Shenlangran asked Jianwuk. You are also from the fire sect, right? I am fine. Jianwuk smiled. You stay here, Shenlangran said before leaving. He had to protect Yang Chen from Elder Qing. But they didn't expect to wait for half a month. Even Shenlangran started to feel weird. Normally, anyone could tell the result of any type of cultivation within 3 days. It wouldn't even take 3 days to fuse with the 5 souls. Shenlangran guessed, my junior brother must be having some luck. He must be cultivating something from a legendary earth attribute. If you wanted to cultivate something from a legendary attribute, it wasn't simple. Even the immortals would not be so lucky. If they were lucky enough to get a hold of that treasure, most of them wouldn't be able to understand it. Yang Chen's luck was truly amazing. Shenlangran decided that nobody could disturb Yang Chen, even if it took another 6 months, or a year. Shenlangran guessed it. Elder Qing also guessed it. He had investigated for the past half a month and interrogated the instructors. He had concluded that the murderer was Yang Chen. Although he didn't know what kind of power he used to kill his grandson, he was sure Yang Chen was the culprit. While Shenlangran and Elder Qing were both having their own thoughts, Yang Chen finally woke up. The earth prison dance that he had successfully cultivated was more powerful than he thought. Not only could it imprison the opponent, but also kill them. Now he could go on to the next step, merging the new move with his martial arts. Because the earth prison dance was much more powerful than the previous move, the merging process was much easier. Seeing Yang Chen awaken, Jianwuk rushed over. Did you succeed? Yang Chen nodded. Great. Jianwuk was excited, but then thought about the fact that his brother killed Elder Qing's grandson. Jianwuk said softly, Bro, the one you killed was named Qingling. He is the grandson of the sect leader of the water sect. Yang Chen was shocked. In his imagination, the water sect leader was as strong as the mountain leader of the water sect. Even if his third brother came, it would be hard to handle. Let's leave this place first. After leaving the training hall, Yang Chen whispered, Wuk, once we get out, you have to go back to the fire sect right away. What about you? Jianwuk was worried. Yang Chen smiled, you know my skills. I can go back by myself. It won't be a problem. The 2 brothers left the hall. Shenlangran rushed to Yang Chen. Are you okay? I am fine. Yang Chen glanced at Shenlangran, then Elder Qing came over and coldly asked, Yang Chen, did you kill Qingling? Qingling. Who is Qingling? I was cultivating. Yang Chen pretended to be innocent. Shenlangran looked at Elder Qing and said, Elder Qing, you must be hallucinating. Have you ever seen someone cultivate while killing people? Besides, my junior brother is only at the 2nd level of heaven stage. By the way, what level was Qingling at? Elder Qing was speechless. Seeing this, Jianwuk didn't say anything. Shenlangran ignored Elder Qing and asked Yang Chen, Junior brother, do you want to continue cultivating with your 5 souls or go back to the sect? Let's go back. Yang Chen said without thinking. He only has the dark soul left. Besides, he killed Qingling. Anyone could see that. If he remained at the water sect, Elder Qing might try to take him down. Elder Qing, we'll take our leave. Shenlangran said to Elder Qing before taking Yang Chen and Jianwuk away. Elder Qing wanted to kill them but could not. If he captured Yang Chen, things could get even messier. After leaving the water sect, Shenlangran reminded Yang Chen, no matter what, you need to deny you have anything to do with Qingling's death. Yang Chen nodded. He knew that Elder Qing would not let it go. I have to be more careful from now on. Elder Qing was one of the most powerful figures in Dongchuan. Being targeted by such a big shot was not good. Qingling is dead. A bald man said. Elder Cheng bragged to the master about how talented his grandson was, and how he wanted him to join the fire sect. But the master rejected him. I didn't expect him to die in our junior brother's hands. What a waste. He was indeed a waste. Another baldy said laughing, a congenital waste who had been in the body-tempering realm for a long time. That's right. The kid's arrogance was really irritating. A man with a hat said. Yang Chen was surprised. He didn't expect his senior brothers to not take Elder Cheng seriously. The only reason might be the master that he had never met. However, his master is in secluded cultivation, and only returns to the sect once a year. 3 months passed. Yang Chen has been practicing hard, but he still hasn't seen his master. Early one morning, Yang Chen and Jian Wuk arrived at Zhu Luoqian's place. Yang Chen and Jian Wuk are here. Zhu Luoqian said. Open the door. The bamboo doors opened. Zhu Luoqian walked out. Seeing the looks on their faces, he laughed and said, What's wrong with our sect? Why do you guys want to go outside? The outside world is too dirty. Yang Chen said, Second brother. You look amazing today, your aura is strong. You must have made some progress in your cultivation. Zhu Luoqian was pleased. He glanced at Qin Langran, then smiled and said to Yang Chen, Baldy, you can bring junior brother and Jian Wuk down the mountain this time. Also, I will give each of you 5 dragon plates. The baldy was excited. Xiao was unhappy. Her small mouth was pouting. She looked like she was about to cry. The Dongchuan Empire only gives 5 dragon plates, is that too much? Zhu Luoqian said, Baldy, don't cause too much trouble this time. But, don't let anyone make fun of us. We can't lose our momentum. Also, and this is important, you have to take good care of your junior brothers. If anyone bullies them, when I get back, I'll skin them alive. The little bald head beat his chest loudly, and then guaranteed, don't worry, your senior brother's going to be busy. Remember to make food before we get back from our trial. Little Qiaoer pouted even more, and refuted, I'm not a cook. A girl who can't cook won't do. While your 4th senior brother is away, quickly learn. Ignoring the grumpy look on Qiaoer's face, the old man watched the little bald head, Yang Chen, and Jian Wuk leave for the trial. Qiaoer is quite upset, isn't she? On the mountain road, Yang Chen couldn't help but ask in a low voice, 4th senior brother, are we going? To give the 5 sects a show of respect. The little bald head laughed it off. Us going there is already giving them enough face. If you ask me, we shouldn't even bother. They're just big shots in the second-rate world. They think too highly of themselves. This place is so cheap. Then, afraid Yang Chen wouldn't understand, the little bald head said seriously, Junior brother, you need to be careful. Those guys from the Eastern Chuan Empire are not good people. Our master said long ago, we're just going to have to clash with them sooner or later. Yang Chen was shocked. So that's how it is. If we're enemies, then there's no point in being courteous. It really doesn't matter. Soon, Yang Chen thought of another matter. He got excited. The Eastern Chuan Empire's millennial competition. Xianlingxi and Xiaolinger's sects, and the 7 celestial sects where Donghuang Wangkai is. We'll all be there. If I can see them in Dushir City, it'd be great. Yang Chen had been focused on cultivation recently. He really missed Xianlingxi. I missed Xianlingxi so much. Thanks to the cultivation resources provided by the second-rate world, Yang Chen had focused solely on improving his cultivation. And he had now reached the peak of the heavenly harmony realm. If it wasn't for the advice from old Rong, he almost broke through to the Xiantian Z Mansion stage. I've reached the peak. Jian Wuk, however, not only became a genuine Xiantian cultivator, but had already reached the 2nd level of the Z Mansion stage. Old Rong said that Yang Chen had to wait until he had successfully merged with a dark martial technique before breaking through to the Xiantian stage. The mysteries behind this were profound. Generally, cultivators usually only merged with martial techniques after reaching the Xiantian Z Mansion stage, to strengthen themselves. But, some geniuses could actually fuse completely during the heavenly harmony stage. They would transform into Z Mansion, and their essence was very strong, which meant they could start fusing with martial intent during the heavenly harmony stage. Then, after advancing to Xiantian, they could perform a second fusion, strengthening their martial intent again. The resulting power was extraordinary. For example, if Yang Chen successfully merged with a dark martial technique before advancing to Xiantian, he could choose another dark martial technique to fuse with again after reaching the Z Mansion stage. This was a double fusion. There were 4 cultivation stages in the Xiantian realm. Z Mansion, 5 kings, 5 sects, and 5 emperors. Normally, you had one chance to fuse with a martial intent in each stage, but a Xiantian cultivator like Yang Chen could fuse twice. The difference this made was significant, but Yang Chen had even bigger aspirations. He hadn't awakened his fire and lightning techniques yet. He thought he should awaken his lightning technique and fuse with it. Before trying to advance to the Z Mansion stage, the fire technique wasn't too bad. Yang Chen was confident he could awaken a fire technique, and merging with a fire-type martial intent was easy. He had a lot of fire-type resources. Merging with the fire technique will be fine, but the lightning technique was tricky. Not to mention merging with it, he couldn't even find one. However, thinking of the mysterious Dutian Pearl, he still wanted to try. Under the guidance of his fourth senior brother, Yang Chen and the others arrived at the Watergate Mountain Teleportation Plaza again. To Yang Chen's surprise, there were many people from the Water Academy heading to Dusher City. They were already waiting at the teleportation hall. They were obviously going to travel with Yang Chen and the others. Indeed, outsiders viewed the Water and Fire Academies as a single entity, especially when dealing with outsiders. The Water and Fire Academies usually acted in unison, and the leader of the Water Academy's trip to Dusher City was none other than the familiar Academy Master Jin Fu. The little bald head was obviously making his first trip down the mountain. He was quite curious, and even Master Jin Fu was looking at him. He asked, confused, "Are you guys all going to Dusher City?" Academy Master Jin Fu nodded, and then formally asked, "May I ask who you are?" "We're from Mount Firegate." Seeing the old man so formal, the little bald head smiled. "I'm Shizhan, he's Hai Hang. I'm the fourth senior brother." Master Jin Fu was even more taken aback. He knew little about Mount Firegate, but he knew Hai Hang was the third brother. They must be very powerful. However, after selecting the Water Academy elites who were going to Dusher City, they were all surprised to find that Yang Chen was only at the Heavenly Harmony realm. Going to Dusher City for the Eastern Chuan Empire's millennial competition was a huge deal. They were sending out a Heavenly Harmony realm cultivator. Aren't we afraid of losing face? Let's go. With Academy Master Jin Fu's order, the group entered the teleportation hall and headed toward the teleportation gate leading to Dusher City. The other end of the teleportation gate was a merchant house that belonged to the Water Academy. The Water Academy was so huge that it had properties everywhere in the Eastern Chuan Empire. Mount Firegate was different. Other than Mount Firegate, they didn't have any other bases. Because there were so many people from the Water Academy, the guest rooms in the merchant house became scarce. Yang Chen and the others only managed to get one guest room. The little bald head, unable to contain his excitement, glanced at the guest room, and immediately said, "Little junior brother, Xiao Shui, it said the market is the biggest in Dongchuan. It must be incredible. Let's go have a look." Okay. Yang Chen readily agreed. She also wanted to see the market for herself. The three then hurriedly left the Water Academy's business district. Perhaps because the capital of the Dongchuan Empire was a 1,000-year-old city. Yang Chen immediately realized that outside the business district, the streets were beautifully paved. People were bustling all around. Yang Chen took a breath of the fresh air. Even cultivators at the Profound Origin realm were rare to see. Most of them were at the Heaven and Human realm. As for the ones whose cultivation he couldn't see, there were even more of them. "It's so lively," added the little bald monk, pointing to the east with a smile. "Let's go over there." After entering the crowd, Yang Chen was amazed. As expected of the biggest city in Dongchuan, he said. The streets were lined with all sorts of shops, and people were coming and going. "The businesses are booming," said the little bald monk, pointing at a shop called Great Fortune Gambling House. He was extremely excited. "Let's go take a look." After entering, Yang Chen was surprised. This Great Fortune Gambling House was anything but ordinary. It was like a small arena. The strange thing was that there were many oddly shaped stones placed everywhere. Everyone who entered the gambling house was curiously examining them. It didn't seem like a gambling house at all. "What's the purpose of these stones?" Yang Chen asked the little bald monk quietly. "Fourth senior brother, what are these stones? Why can't my divine sense probe them?" Although this was Yang Chen's first time down the mountain, the little bald monk's knowledge was clearly much greater. He replied, "Junior brother, don't underestimate these stones. It's said that they contain spiritual essence," said the little bald monk. Yang Chen was taken aback. Spiritual essence. That's a very rare cultivation resource. Usually only those at the formal level use it because of their ability to enhance the spiritual sense. Therefore, people love to use them to enhance their spiritual sense or gamble, hence the value of the spiritual essence is high. He said. In Dongchuan, a spiritual essence the size of a fist costs up to high-grade spirit stones. Hearing the word spiritual essence, Yang Chen immediately understood why the Great Fortune gambling house was so popular. They're gambling stones. If he could get some head, strike it rich. The little bald monk saw Yang Chen staring blankly and explained, Junior brother, this Great Fortune gambling house seems to be a business of the Dongchuan royal family. You might not know this, but the whole of Dongchuan only has one spiritual essence mine under the control of the Dongchuan Empire. Spiritual essence is a specialty of the Dongchuan Empire. A specialty. Yang Chen then thought of the mine and the fire sect. So the four top sects each have a source of spiritual essence. They each have their own unique products. Just then, Yang Chen heard someone calling his name from behind. He turned around and was overjoyed. It turned out to be Xiao Yunyang and his group. What was strange was, Dong Huang Wang Kai was with them. Yang Chen was stunned. He couldn't see through his sworn brother's cultivation. He had clearly reached the Purple Mansion realm. Thinking about it, it was not surprising. Dong Huang Wang Kai was now a disciple of the seven great sects. With the abundant natural resources, it's only natural for him to improve, he thought. Hey, Yang Chen, Dong Huang Wang Kai, in a good mood, laughed heartily. I was still talking about you, Yun Yang. I didn't think that I'd actually run into you. This is great. Yang Chen asked, when did you guys arrive? Did you hear anything about the Demon Valley? Before Dong Huang Wang Kai could answer, Xiao Yunyang said, Yang Chen, you might be disappointed. According to my information, Xian Lingxiao and Xiao Linger did not come to the market. Yang Chen was a little disappointed. But Xiao Yunyang continued, Yang Chen, your talent is outstanding. The second leader of the Demon Valley took you on as his personal disciple. Her name is Xiao Linger. She's also a disciple of the old senior Zhuyi. That's not bad, Yang Chen said with a forced smile. At least there was one good news. As Dong Huang Wang Kai and his group entered the Great Fortune gambling house, someone shouted to Yang Chen from the other side. Ah, Yang Chen, what a coincidence. Another group of familiar faces was approaching. At the head was Wan Lianqing and other disciples from the seven great sects, including Mu Shang. Next to Dong Huang Wang Kai was Xing Jiwen, his face gloomy because of his dislike of Yang Chen. He was seething with hatred. Ignoring Yang Chen, he questioned Dong Huang Wang Kai, Dong Huang Wang Kai, why are you hanging out with outsiders instead of being with your fellow disciples? Dong Huang Wang Kai rolled his eyes. Xing Jiwen, you sure are nosy, he said. First, I represent the Soul Sword Peak. It's none of your business. Second, I'm with my brothers. What does it have to do with you? Xing Jiwen was further humiliated. His face was now completely red. It's their freedom. Why should you care? Said Xing Jiwu. Brother, don't bother with him. After we return to the sect, we will teach him a lesson. The little bald monk was surprised. He looked at Yang Chen and asked, Junior brother, who are those small fry? Do you have a grudge against them? Do you want me to teach them a lesson? No. Yang Chen quickly stopped him. What a joke. If he messed with Xing Jiwen and Wan Lianqing, then things would become complicated. He might not even be able to leave the market. On the other hand, Yang Chen understood why those people from the fire sect were called crazy dogs by the cultivators of Dongchuan. After their short exchange, Yang Chen's group and Wan Lianqing's group parted ways. The bustling small arena was filled with excited chatter. But then, a horn sounded, drawing everyone's attention. An elderly man in a deep purple robe, followed by two assistants, walked to the center, addressing the crowd. Thank you all for coming to the Great Stone Gambling. You all know the rules. Once you've chosen, you can't go back. The elder pointed to the largest rock. This is the biggest piece of raw jade we've unearthed, worth 5,000 high-grade spirit stones. Many, like Yang Chen, were entering the great gambling arena for the first time. They were shocked. Is this a joke? The starting price is 5,000 high-grade spirit stones. Many were already making bids. The price kept climbing. It reached 9,000. Yang Chen, who had received 5,000 high-grade spirit stones before his departure, now felt very poor. Compared to the real spenders here, he was nothing. Like Yang Chen, the little monk was also watching the spectacle with no intention to buy. As the bids got higher and higher, more cultivators crowded around, including Yang Chen and his group, all staring at the two-meter-tall rock. Yang Chen suddenly had an idea. He could not use his divine sense, but what if I used the scripture of seizing heaven or the scripture of binding? Yang Chen thought, immediately using the scripture of binding. He controlled his divine sense. To Yang Chen's surprise, his divine sense now was not blocked at all. He could see inside. He was even more shocked to discover that there were 3 fist-sized, yellowish-brown jadeite. Clearly, those must be the jadeites. Yang Chen thought, excited. I have to bid on them. Let's bid, let's bid. Just as he was wondering who would get them, Yang Chen suddenly froze. He was shocked because as his divine sense explored those 3 jadeites, a unique jadeite aura touched him. The aura traveled back through his divine sense and through the rock. Yang Chen never expected that. This jadeite aura would break through the rock and go straight into his left eye. His left eye, that had been without any sensation for so long, his left eye was now experiencing a slight lightness. Though no one could tell from the outside, he knew it. His left eye was effectively blind. He had tried various methods, but nothing had worked. Now, his left eye was reacting to the jadeite energy. If he got some jadeite and refined it, his left eye might recover, maybe even gain some powerful abilities. Yang Chen's heart was pounding. This little stone gambling area is hiding many raw jade pieces. He had to get the jadeite. He pulled Little Monk and Jian Wuk away from the auction. They wandered around. Yang Chen stopped at a piece of reddish-brown rock that was about a meter tall. Why are we stopping? Little Monk asked, puzzled. Little brother, what are you doing? Are you going to gamble? That's useless. It's a real waste. Yang Chen, unsure how to explain, told them, 4th senior brother, I need the jadeite. Hearing that Yang Chen needed jadeite, Little Monk stopped asking questions. Little brother, I have some doubts about this stone. He walked around the reddish-brown stone. Even I can see that the chance of getting anything from this stone is extremely low. Yang Chen said seriously, senior brother, it's a risk. But it's a worthwhile risk. Suddenly, Xin Jiwen walked over. He sneered, so, you want to gamble? Xia Yuyang and Donghuang Wangkai looked worried. Stone gambling was something ordinary cultivators wouldn't do. The price was too high. It was fine if you won, but you could lose everything. Yang Chen pretended to be dumb and looked at Xin Jiwen. You're everywhere. How about a bet? Xin Jiwen said, excited. He had been looking for a chance to get back at Yang Chen. This piece of rock looked nothing like it contained jadeite. He couldn't lose against this ignorant guy. He was afraid Yang Chen might back out. Xin Jiwen asked again. Yang Chen pretended to hesitate. He looked like he was trapped in the dilemma, but then suddenly his face brightened up. Let's bet. How do you want to bet? Xin Jiwen chuckled, thinking he was about to win. He called out, let's get a gambling referee. This shout drew the attention of many people. Stone gambling was the most exciting thing in the great gambling arena. The middle-aged man, a supervisor at the great gambling arena, walked over, looking at the poor quality stone. Each raw stone is different, but usually, the cut is made straight along the surface. Why is this piece round? Some people like to gamble on raw stones, but when they realize they have a heaven-tier treasure, they often hesitate. You wanna bet? Yang Chen stepped forward, not intimidated. He loudly declared, I will. So, the famous one is betting. The middle-aged man asked another question. Where are you from? You sound unfamiliar. Yang Chen saw that the man was trying to size him up. We're from Huamen Mountain. The middle-aged man's face changed. Not daring to ask more, he said, you two need to agree on the terms of the bet. I am just a mediator. When Jiwen grinned mischievously, he wanted to make things difficult for Yang Chen. I heard the Huamen Mountain is poor. Let's not bet too low. 2,000 top-grade spirit stones, how about that? And if you can't pay, we can always discuss further. 2,000. Isn't that too much? Yang Chen's heart was jumping with joy, but he put on a pained face to deceive them. It seemed like he was caught in a dilemma, not wanting to lose Huamen Mountain's reputation. 2,000 top-grade spirit stones is a lot, even for second-rate forces. Even the elite cultivators from the top 4 forces would find it hard to produce 2,000 top-grade spirit stones at once. When Jiwen was pleased with how well Yang Chen was acting, Xiao Yunyang whispered, little brother, can you lend me some spirit stones? Xiao Yunyang couldn't come up with 2,000. He said, Yang Chen is a very rare material, difficult to find. Why don't we just give up? Yang Chen turned to Dong Huang Wankai, who shook his head. Little brother, you're being too stingy. It's just 2,000 spirit stones. Don't embarrass our sect, he'll give them to you. The bald man had been watching Yang Chen carefully. He noticed a hint of smugness. Thank you, 4th senior brother. Yang Chen took out a storage ring. It was filled with top-grade spirit stones. Wen Jiwen, you're a well-known figure. You dare to ask for 2,000 top-grade stones. Shameful. Wen Jiwen was humiliated, and coldly asked Yang Chen, you, don't act tough. Do you have enough to bet? How much do you have? I'll match you. Yang Chen had been waiting for this. Yang Chen raised his left hand and snapped his fingers. He said loudly, 10,000, top-grade spirit stones, do you dare to bet? Wen Jiwen was furious. He was sure that Yang Chen was trying to make him back down. He turned to Wen Pongsa. Brother, look at this. This guy. He has 10,000 top-grade spirit stones. It's alright, I have them too. Wan Liancheng grinned. What? I'll give you spirit stones. But if we win, you'll give me half, how's that? Wen Jiwen was delighted and quickly agreed. Yang Chen looked worried. Are you sure about this bet, Yang Chen? Wen Jiwen didn't want Yang Chen to back down. After that, Yang Chen gave his ring with top-grade spirit stones to the middle-aged man in charge. Wen Jiwen also placed his bet. The middle-aged man was serious. He announced, the gamblers are Huamen Mountain's Yang Chen and Qian Tiansek's Wen Jiwen. Each has placed top-grade spirit stones. This large bet was extremely rare. The middle-aged man turned to Yang Chen. Yang Chen, do you bet on this raw stone? Will you open it up to find the treasure? Yang Chen nodded. The man turned to Wen Jiwen and asked, Wen Jiwen, you think there's no treasure in it? Yes, Wen Jiwen said confidently. He was already excited. Lu Yuzhou, you may start. The middle-aged man called out and a cultivator with a knife came. The knife glowed with a faint yellow light. It was a special knife that could break through raw stones. The value of the knife was extremely high. The middle-aged man nodded and the man holding the knife sliced into the stone like it was tofu. When cutting a raw stone, the first slice was about 1/5 from the top. There was no sign of treasure. As usual, the cultivator holding the knife split the slice into smaller pieces. Clearly, no treasure. Wen Jiwen was elated. Yang Chen's side was downcast, including the bald man. Could it be that little brother's judgment was wrong? Let's cut deeper. This time, half of the stone was cut off. Still no sign of treasure. Wen Jiwen laughed triumphantly. If you cut half the stone and don't find anything, then it's basically a waste. Yang Chen was not worried. He just watched the man cutting the stone. The man had a lot of experience. This stone is definitely a waste. He casually swung the knife at the remaining part. Suddenly, the knife was stuck. The man was shocked. A treasure. The cutter couldn't believe it. He had never felt this before. It's a treasure. It must be. I'm sure it is. The experienced gamblers knew it by the sound of the knife. When Jiwen's smile disappeared. How can this be? He was going to lose top-grade spirit stones. He would be known all over the city. It was not a good name. The cutter started to slice carefully, revealing a gem-like stone. Everyone was shocked. Who would have thought a piece of trash like this could have a treasure? This is incredible. Yang Quan was so upset. When Jiwen's face turned deathly pale, Wan Liancheng was also shocked. Yang Chen took the spirit stones and returned one ring to his fourth senior brother. Fourth senior brother, let's go to the best restaurant. The middle-aged man took the 9 treasures and put them in a storage ring. He told Yang Chen, according to our rules, you can get spirit stones per treasure. That is the value. Yang Chen took the spirit stones and handed them to the man. He put the treasures away. The middle-aged man was still shocked. He suspected that Yang Chen had some kind of secret. He looked at Xiao Yunyang and asked, Brother Xiao, where's the best restaurant? Yang Chen was like a rich man. Xiao Yunyang laughed. I know this place like the back of my hand. The most famous restaurant is Shunlianju. Shunlianju. Yang Chen was curious. As they walked, Xiao Yunyang explained, the most famous thing at Shunlianju isn't the food but the protection artifact that they have. A restaurant that has a weapon. Yang Chen and the bald man were both very intrigued. Xiao Yunyang continued, Shunlianju belongs to the Wan family of the Dongchuan Empire. They put a waste artifact there to draw attention. This artifact was passed down from ancient times. They call it Xianbing Heilian. No one has ever been able to use it. It was deemed as waste, but it's good for business. If you pour your soul force into the Xianbing Heilian, it might light up. If it does, then there are 9 faces, meaning 9 levels of light. They said that everyone who consumes at their restaurant can try to light it up. If you can light up all 9 faces, you will get the Xianbing Heilian for free. That is why people come to Shunlianju. Unfortunately, no one has succeeded. Is that so? Yang Chen and the bald man were both interested. Whether it's useful or not, if we can get our hands on it, it's definitely a profit. Yang Chen and the others picked up their pace. They arrived at Xinlianju, which was in the center of the city. Even though the food was expensive, many cultivators came here for the artifact. Their main goal was the Xianbing Heilian. Yang Chen and his group finished their meal. The cost of the meal was a few dozen top-grade spirit stones. It's really expensive. Normal cultivators could not afford it. After they finished, they went up to the 9th floor. There were many people waiting to try and light up the Xianbing Heilian. They watched for about half an hour as many cultivators, some with great powers, tried, but no one succeeded. Yang Chen, who was watching, could not see anything special about the artifact. But he had a feeling that it was not simple. At this moment, Ron Lao sent a message to Yang Chen. Master, this is a soul artifact. It's been poorly made. It's such a waste of good material. Soul artifact. Yang Chen was surprised. He had never heard of it before. Ron Lao explained, soul artifact is a special spiritual energy. Soul energy. You mean this artifact has soul energy? It's actually soul energy. Yang Chen exclaimed. Yes, it is soul energy. Ron Lao replied. But it's not suitable for you. Why? Yang Chen asked. Because you're not a soul celestial Taoist. Yang Chen was clueless. Ron Lao explained soul celestial Taoist refers to those with special soul abilities, not just a specific attribute. Soul celestial Taoists are extremely rare. You'd rarely see one. Once they mature, they're very scary. They can kill silently, so you wouldn't know you're dead. So scary. Yang Chen was shocked. Soul celestial Taoists seem to be strong in soul attacks. Ron Lao then dropped another bombshell. There is a soul celestial Taoist near you. Yang Chen couldn't believe it. It was Qianlingxi. He would not have believed it if it wasn't Ron Lao. After a while, Yang Chen looked at the artifact again. He knew what Ron Lao meant. This artifact was not suitable for him, but it was for Qianlingxi. Soul artifacts are extremely rare. It's not difficult to refine, but the equipment to refine them is too rare. Seeing Yang Chen's eyes, the bald man whispered, Little brother, are you interested in the Xianbing Heilian? Yang Chen nodded. It's very important to me. The bald man suddenly became energized. If I can help him get this artifact, maybe I can get rid of the lashes. They quickly moved forward. The bald man stepped forward and said, the rule is to light up 5 faces. Then the artifact is mine, right? The old man in charge gave him a look of disdain. That is correct. If you can light up the artifact, then it's yours. Is he trying to steal from us? The other people started to laugh. The bald man turned around, looking at them. I am from Huamen Mountain, is that funny? Everyone became quiet. Some people even shrank back, afraid that the bald man would take it out on them. Huamen Mountain is known for its bad reputation. It must be the Xianbing Heilian that brought them here. The old man in charge frowned. The men from Huamen Mountain are here for the artifact. We're in trouble. The old man quickly sent a message to the manager. He covered the object with a cloth. Okay, next. Chen He, the little bald head, made a show of posing like a master. A massive mysterious weapon was right in front of him. He stretched out his hand and placed it on the weapon. At the same time, the little bald head activated his soul power to the extreme. He poured his soul power into the mysterious weapon, and just in a flash, a section on the weapon began to light up with a red glow. What? My God! It really lit up. The crowd around burst into an uproar, looking at the little bald head in disbelief. Everyone said those from Firegate Mountain were monsters. Indeed, even a seemingly ordinary little bald head could actually easily light up the mysterious weapon. The elder from the Wan family, who was in charge of guarding the weapon, had a drastic change in expression. Perhaps ordinary people wouldn't know how difficult it was to light up even one section of the mysterious weapon. But as a Wan family cultivator, he was very aware that lighting up the mysterious weapon required an extremely strong soul power. Even Wan Buhui, the most talented genius of the Wan family in the past 1,000 years, could only light up a small portion of one section, and what was Wan Bui's cultivation? He was a high-level martial king. This little guy was only at level. When Wan Buhui lit up a small portion of one section, he spent fire energies to succeed. Amidst the crowd's amazement, the second section of the mysterious weapon lit up, flickering with an eerie red glow. The elder from the Wan family looked ashen. If this person from Firegate Mountain could really light up all the sections, could the Wan family really have to give up this important treasure? The third section also lit up, but the red glow on the third section was clearly much dimmer than the others, and it quickly went out. The Wan family elder let out a sigh of relief seeing the third section's light go out. The little bald head was obviously not convinced. He glared fiercely at the mysterious weapon, grumbling, "One day, they'll take you back to Firegate Mountain." Just then, hurried footsteps could be heard from the ancient building. Several old men rushed over. The white-bearded old man in the lead looked very anxious. Wan Qi asked how to find the white-beard elder. The Wan family elder who had touched the mysterious weapon said, "I have good news. Wan Qi, ancestor. There is nothing much, our little fellow is testing the mysterious weapon. He failed at the third section." Hearing this, the white-bearded Wan Qi was obviously excited. Someone lit up the third section. The little bald head was shocked. From the other party's words, he could hear a hint of disdain, and angrily said, "In 3 years, I'll take it away." Wan Qi smiled noncommittally. 3 years. Not in 300. As a martial king, Wan Qi knew better than anyone how difficult it was to improve one's soul power, but the little bald head from Firegate Mountain was someone he remembered well. His soul power at such a young age was terrifying. What would he become in the future? He would surely become a terrifying being. Soon, Xiao Yunyang and the others tried one after another, but they were unable to light up the weapon. When it was Jianwu's turn, he once again shocked the crowd because Jianwu successfully lit up one section. In the past 100 years, it was difficult for even one person to light up a section, but today it's crazy. 2 people lit up the mysterious weapon one after another. And Jianwu's cultivation is only at the 2nd level of the Violet Palace realm. If he reaches martial king status, he will definitely light up 2 sections. "Little guy, where did you come from?" Wan Qi's eyes were fixed on Jianwu. He was shocked. This was the real genius. All the other so-called geniuses are just fake before they reach the congenital level. Only those who reached the congenital level could truly see a cultivator's potential. For a congenital cultivator, the most important thing was soul power. As long as a cultivator has these 2 things, his future will be limitless. Jianwu understood the meaning behind the other party's words, and said without hesitation, "Senior, from Firegate Mountain." "Another one from Firegate Mountain. How? Our big brother is also from Firegate Mountain." After going through life and death together, he was thankful. Wan Qi was confused. He suspected that Firegate Mountain had some kind of soul power training treasure, or how could 2 disciples from Firegate have such terrifying soul power? After some commotion, Yang Chen stood before the mysterious weapon. But he didn't try to light it up. Instead, he asked Wan Qi, with a question, "Senior, is it true that as long as I can light up the weapon, it will be mine?" "Of course," he nodded without thinking. Wan Qi, as a member of the Wan family, couldn't possibly be lying, and seeing that Yang Chen was only at the latest-stage Hotian realm, he didn't even bother trying to flatter him. In reality, Yang Chen didn't know how many sections he could light up. After calming his mind, Yang Chen placed his left hand on the massive mysterious weapon. Instantly, a chilling sensation traveled through his hand. Yang Chen felt slightly uncomfortable. Then, he unleashed his soul power into the mysterious weapon. Almost instantly, the area around the mysterious weapon glowed intensely. 3 sections lit up almost at the same time, with a burning red glow. The entire area was silent, including Wan Qi, a very important figure from the Wan family. Everyone was in shock. They were stunned. This is impossible. 3 sections lit up at the same time. Am I seeing things? Who is this kid? Just when everyone was in shock, after a few breaths, a 4th section, and then a 5th section, lit up one after another. Yang Chen, who was fully concentrated, looked at the mysterious weapon and saw that he had lit up 5 sections. He immediately withdrew his soul power. It was easier than he imagined. Wan Qi's face darkened. He was in trouble. "Who are you?" Even the general Wan family members didn't know the real value of the mysterious weapon. For the Wan family, it was extremely important. They couldn't possibly give it to an outsider, because the weapon contained a great secret. Wan Qi made up his mind. If this kid was not someone important, he would not hesitate to recruit him into the Wan family. On one hand, it was to take the mysterious weapon out of the Wan family's control. On the other hand, such a talented person was too powerful. If he didn't recruit him, it would be outrageous. This kid's soul power is terrifying. Too bad, Wan Qi was plotting in his heart. But, before Yang Chen could speak, the little bald head stepped forward and spoke to Wan Qi. "He's my junior brother, and we are from the same sect." At that moment, Wan Qi suddenly remembered. Half a year ago, their sect indeed recruited some new people that were related to the Fengshan Mountain of the Eastern Empire. Back then, it was big news. Almost all the forces in the Eastern Empire were alerted. Are you Yang Chen? Wan Shi looked even more unhappy. Yes, Yang Chen nodded. Wan Shi was about to take away the mysterious weapon, but to his surprise, he couldn't move it. The platform that was holding the weapon actually wouldn't budge. With a sneer, Wan Shi allowed Yang Chen to play around with the weapon. You must be joking. This platform was enchanted with a powerful barrier. It was impossible for Yang Chen, or even martial kings, to break it, in such a short time. Otherwise, how could such a precious treasure be placed so casually in a public training ground? Seeing that Yang Chen couldn't move the weapon, the little bald head was about to step forward to help when Wan Shi gave a cold warning. No one is allowed to help. If he can't take it himself, then it is not my fault. This is too shameless. The little bald head shouted, and was about to act. Many of the righteous cultivators present were also disgusted by the Wan family's behavior, but no one dared to speak out, because they were afraid of offending the Wan family. Fourth senior brother, don't! Yang Chen stopped him. He knew that this was the other party trying to make things difficult, but once they started, it would become even more complicated. He needed to know that this was Wan's territory, and they were surrounded by Wan's experts. They could not move carelessly. It's not a good idea to talk. Junior brother. The little bald head asked in confusion, are you kidding? When have we ever suffered such humiliation? Yang Chen smiled calmly, fourth senior brother, don't worry, watch how I take this mysterious weapon. Wan Shi sneered disdainfully. He didn't think Yang Chen could take it. Yang Chen directly used the holy true energy in his body. With the red stone operating, instantly, a red-white flame burst out, locking onto the mysterious weapon, and enveloped the mysterious weapon. The powerful seal on the platform disappeared, and the mysterious weapon was completely freed. What about your attitude now? Yang Chen smiled. The mysterious weapon is mine. Ha 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 ha. The little bald head came to Yang Chen and said loudly, what about it? Does the Wan family want to go back on their word? Yang Chen. Wan Shi immediately changed his tone. Wan Shi was in a panic. Since we're talking about it, the mysterious weapon cannot leave. We can compensate you with a spiritual weapon. How about that? Spiritual weapon. The little bald head's eyes lit up. He didn't expect to get a spiritual weapon on this trip. Junior brother, we're going to be rich. But, to his surprise, Yang Chen refused without hesitation. I don't think the seniors are sincere. I think the mysterious weapon is destined for me. I will not give it up. Fourth senior brother, let's go. Saying that, Yang Chen didn't even bother to look at Wan Shi. He turned around and left. Wan Shi moved again, blocking the stairs. Stop. Wan Shi said quickly, everything is negotiable. What do you want? Just say it. As long as you're willing to give up the mysterious weapon, I'll do my best to satisfy you. I will not give up the mysterious weapon. Yang Chen's face darkened. The more the other party was like this, the more he felt that the mysterious weapon was not just a spiritual weapon. Step aside. The little bald head glared at Wan Shi and shouted, if you don't step aside, don't blame me for getting rough. Everyone here can witness this. The whole Eastern Empire will see how shameless you all are. Under duress, Wan Shi had no choice but to move aside, watching as Yang Chen and his group went downstairs. This is bad. Suddenly remembering something, Wan Shi also followed downstairs. He needed to return to the palace and report this. Apart from the mysterious weapon, Yang Chen was not interested in anything else. After separating from Xiao Yunyang and the others, he planned to return to his dwelling. The reason why Yang Chen was in such a rush was because he was afraid something might happen. From Wan Shi's actions, it was obvious that the mysterious weapon was extremely important to the Wan family. Therefore Yang Chen thought he should check what secrets were hidden within. On the way, Yang Chen asked Rong Lao, do you see anything unusual with that mysterious weapon? Rong Lao was helpless. How can I tell? That's a soul weapon. I need to study it. After rushing back to his residence, Yang Chen took out the mysterious weapon. After fiddling with it for a while, Rong Lao took the weapon to Kuei Xing Tower. After about half an hour, Rong Lao told Yang Chen, I can't see any secret within the weapon. But Rong Lao did have a suggestion for Yang Chen. He suggested that Yang Chen refine the weapon as soon as possible and fuse it, either with the third eye of the god of fire, or with the third eye of the god of thunder. Only then would he be able to see the secret hidden within the weapon. Yang Chen immediately took out a pill and started refining it. As the energy seeped into his left eye, Yang Chen could not help but get excited, because he was beginning to feel something, but still, he couldn't see anything. It wasn't until he finished the 5th pill that his eye could finally see a bit of light. But what made Yang Chen confused was that his left eye could only see a blurry, gray color. Could it be that his left eye was broken? Or was it that he had failed to merge with the eye of God? Yang Chen, getting anxious, sped up the refining process. After finishing the 8th pill, he could finally see with his left eye. But what was weird was that everything he saw was in gray, whether he looked at the little bald head, who also cultivated in the same area, or the people outside, everything was blurry. To be precise, everything seemed to be made up of countless particles. It was somewhat abstract. And not only that, even the objects were like that. This is the eye of the god of thunder. This is absurd. Yang, who thought his eye was broken, suddenly discovered something. He discovered that once he put spirit energy into the gold pupils of his left eye, he could see a hollow space. Yang Chen took a deep breath, because the target he had set was the 4th senior brother's cultivation. He could clearly see the internal workings of the 4th senior brother's body. He could see the violet palace. The chi was almost solid, with a deep yellow color. These were the 4th senior brother's true energy. At the center of the chi was a miniature, light yellow axe. Yang Chen had never seen the 4th senior brother's 5 souls, but now he finally understood. His 5 souls were an axe head. But what surprised him was that in 4th senior brother's violet palace, there was another axe head, a mini blood-red axe that was extremely murderous. Yang Chen could even see the blood on the miniature axe. This is a spiritual weapon. Yang Chen was in disbelief. Only a completely controlled spiritual weapon could be stored in the violet palace, and he could feel that the scary blood-red spiritual axe in the 4th senior brother's violet palace was not ordinary. Its power was definitely stronger than normal spiritual weapons. The 4th senior brother is also someone who has many tricks up his sleeve. With a sigh, Yang Chen then looked at the 4th senior brother's sea of consciousness. He was immediately stunned. He could see at a glance that the 4th senior brother's martial arts in his sea of consciousness were so familiar. It was the Earth-type legendary martial art. Great Earth Catastrophe. It was exactly the same as his. But, obviously, the 4th senior brother's Great Earth Catastrophe was times stronger than his. He knew that the reason he could obtain the Great Earth Catastrophe was not because he had comprehended it, but through trickery and chance, and the 4th senior brother's Great Earth Catastrophe was comprehended by him. He's truly a genius. Furthermore, the power that the 4th senior brother used in his sea of consciousness had actually crystallized. Could he have reached the mid-stage of the congenital level? And in the center of his sea of consciousness, there was a very small earth-yellow flame. This must be the 4th senior brother's soul. This didn't surprise Yang Chen, since he had already seen the 4th senior brother's powerful soul power, even if it was only slightly weaker than himself. After some thought, Yang Chen looked at Jianwok. As someone who knew Jianwok very well, Yang Chen glanced at his violet palace and saw his black tortoise soul and sky devil needle, and also the spiritual weapon, the dragon staff. But when Yang Chen looked into Jianwok's sea of consciousness, he was shocked. He couldn't see through it. He couldn't even see it clearly. And it seemed as if he was being disturbed. Jianwok looked at his elder brother in confusion. Just then, Jianwok felt that he was being watched. A mysterious force was trying to peek into him. This force was so weird and could actually hide from his senses. Wanting to suffer as his loss, Yang Chen smiled, feeling a little embarrassed. Little Shui, he'll try out the power of my left eye. The power of his left eye was still the same as when Wok activated it. Wok doesn't know yet. Little bro, what special power did you get yesterday? According to the Mind Sutra, Yang Chen realized Wok was no simple man. His stone sea was able to shield his mystic left eye, couldn't even see through it. After staring at Wok for a while, Yang Chen thought of something that could. He had Ron Lao take out the mysterious black plate. Looking at the ink plate-sized mysterious black plate, Yang Chen once again activated his mystic left eye. He could clearly see strange, ancient black symbols all over the plate. There's something to it. On the black plate, among the ancient symbols, there was an extra set of words. This set of words was not originally part of the mysterious black plate. It was definitely, someone had deliberately etched it on later. Focusing on the set of etched words, Yang Chen discovered, the words formed a sentence. A single drop, the peak, San One sword. Puzzled, Yang Chen memorized the sentence, then once again activated his mystic left eye, checking the black plate. There was nothing else. Helpless, Yang Chen had to put it back into his storage ring. He planned to give it to Qian Lingxi later. Before long, after wandering around the Water Academy market, he returned home. Yang Chen, who was feeling restless, put on his coat and whispered, "Fourth senior brother, have you heard of Song One Sword?" Song One Sword. His fourth senior brother replied without hesitation. Who hasn't heard of Song One Sword? It's the signature sword technique of the Jade Dragon. Now, it was Yang Chen's turn to be dumbfounded. Everything made sense now. Hidden in the mysterious black plate was actually information about a sword technique. And it was the legendary signature sword technique of the Jade Dragon. This was beyond a heavenly weapon. Every sword cultivator dreamed of it, especially for those with congenital disabilities. They had an even greater chance to comprehend such techniques. Even if they only grasped some of the basics, its power would be far beyond that of an average heavenly martial art. A single drop, the peak, Song One Sword. After chanting it in his head, Yang Chen felt incredibly excited. Clearly, the Song One Sword technique was hidden in a single drop, the peak. But, where exactly was this single drop? After asking around the Water Academy, Yang Chen finally found out where this drop was. Only Yang Chen didn't know, but anyone from Dongchuan knew about One Drop Divine Mountain. In the northern, bitterly cold land of Dongchuan, there was an extremely majestic and tall mountain. It was Dongquan's #1 mountain, One Drop Divine Mountain. As Dongquan's highest peak, the One Drop Divine Mountain was extremely cold and difficult to access. It was nearly a death zone for any life. It was known as Dongquan's top forbidden zone because no one had ever been able to reach its summit. Rumor had it, the One Drop Divine Mountain was suppressing an incredibly terrifying demon. If it were released, the entire powerful Dongchuan Empire would fall into chaos and ruin. Moreover, this terrifying demon could emit a terrifying illusion. It possessed a powerful soul attack. The higher the cultivation level, the more difficult it was to resist the soul illusion. Strangely enough, some cultivators with low cultivation levels, after being exposed to the soul illusions, were not as greatly affected. After learning about this, Yang Chen was stumped. It seemed like his desire to ascend the One